Hello, guys. So, I know this is the first time a lot of you are actually seeing me in VR chat, in the flesh. Um, I got things like full body tracking. It's really cool. Uh, you know, I can be a totally awesome digital furry person thingy. Um, so, yeah. Sorry, that's my awkward intro to this entry of the Vagabond's Journal. But I also have a couple of my homies here with me, just cause like they've been with me for a lot of the last few months. Um, when I met the purple one over here, Corinne Darcy, I actually met him when I was couch surfing at Mima's house over in Vallejo. And this would have been the very, very beginning of August. I still remember the night that I met him. We met through my good friend Pinkasnek, and we met on this really cool like dream SkyTrain world. Think kind of like that train from Rick and Morty minus all the scary shit. It was really cool. And it's just crazy to think, that I've met like people who have seen me from a way different place than I was at just a few months back. Early August. That's only 6 months ago, really. And when I met Corinne was actually when I hit kind of hella a rock bottom. At the time that I met Corinne, I was starving myself because my kratom addiction had gotten really, really, really bad. And back then, things were really different. And I was going through a lot. I just lost a friendship with someone who was really close to me. And all of my little Discord and Reddit empires had fallen apart to so much shit. And all I had to show for it really was the friends that somehow were left over after all the chaos of all those years. And I was just a fucking wreck. I had freshly come out of a suicidal crisis so that my friend Olivier, he had to talk me out of it. It was July 25th of last year. It was the 5-year anniversary of when I got kicked out to the city, to Job Corps. And just a lot's changed, as most of you know. I had ego death occur. I had a literal delusion that I was Jesus Christ die. That's a little bit of a fucking big deal. And it was a bit jarring to say the least. Yeah, I don't know if I told you about that. It was a whole fucking shebang. But yeah. But that's besides the point. I don't know. I kind of am just rambling, and that's okay. But basically, I'm finally 90 days clean. Ah! Azure, why'd you teleport to me? I'm doing a vlog. It's okay. It's okay, but I'm doing a vlog. I'm doing a vlog. You can vibe. Yeah. But yeah. As of about an hour ago, I'm finally at the 90-day mark of being clean from drug addiction. And I'm still a mess. Like, today I woke up and I'd had a dream that I relapsed. And it was a really shitty dream. And... and... I was so fucked up in the head that I literally was opening and closing Google Maps on my phone over and over again. Because I was going to search up the nearest shop that sold Kratom, but I couldn't get myself to click the search bar and do that because I knew what would happen if I went down that road. And frankly, I've had a really shitty day, but that's okay because it hit midnight and I can say that I'm 90 days clean. And a lot's changed. I mean, you know, when I started my addiction recovery and had that shroom trip that completely upended my addiction, I was super fresh out of homelessness. I was in a really bad place, and I started a job at Facebook, now called Meta, and I'm not gonna lie, I still have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. Because with ego death, and with the end of my drug addiction, and with all of the trauma recovery, and with the new career, and with everything, like everything's changed about who I believed I was. And some days I don't know. But what I can tell you guys is that back then, I put on a front that, look at me, I'm this epic anti-capitalist vagabond who does drugs and is a cool badass. Because, truth be told, I didn't believe I'm capable of doing anything I do now. I looked at people living their dreams in the cool VR gear that I always wanted but could never afford, and I thought, that'll never be me. Except for that brief period of time where I almost became a sex worker, but that's besides the point. I genuinely did not believe I could do anything I'm doing now. I thought I'm just going to be a homeless, broke vagabond for the rest of my life, and then pick up seasonal work for a couple months and quit. Because that's all I'm worth and that's all I'm capable of. And don't get me wrong, I still have a lot of my anti-capitalist streak, but also, like, dude, that's no way to live the life of a vagabond. I was a fucking mess. It was something I clung on to because it seemed like the easy way out when I didn't believe in myself. And it was really easy to just say, I'm gonna take drugs all the time and be a vagabond and just explore the world until I die. My retirement plan was to die in the streets, and I'm not even kidding. That was my plan for when I got old, was to die on the streets in a tent. And that's fucked up. And I'm still figuring all of this shit out. But, and you know, I know I've harped on about this a lot, but the metaverse changed everything for me. I've made so many good friends, you guys have no idea. It's giving me the ability to express myself like I never was able to before. And when I was fucking down in the dumps and starving myself and mixing kratom with alcohol and kava and weed and starving and living on a couch, and I never showered and I never did anything, and I thought I was worthless, I at least had VR chat, and I had VR, and I had my friends. And that made a difference. And if it weren't for the people here with me today who are kind of like being my emotional support while I break down in a vlog for the first time, I wouldn't be 90 days clean. And that also goes for everyone who's seeing this, because if you're seeing this video, it means you're someone who's impacted my life. See, I don't talk about it a lot, but I really, really deeply care about everyone I come into contact with. And if you're in my server, it's because I've deemed you a really awesome person to have in my life. I'm still figuring my shit out. And I'm still really working through my trauma, because I chose to no longer be the runaway. I said, I can actually get a career that doing what I love. Now suddenly I fucking have this job at Meta, doing big things. And suddenly I have all the good VR gear that anyone could dream of. I know that sounds silly, but to me that's a big deal. Because I remember one time back in February 2019, it was the first time I tried to legitimately hit the road after running away. It's the first time I tried doing it as an adult. I went to San Diego for a few days before I came down sick, and as you guys know, the trip got delayed 2 months before I hitchhiked the country. But I had my pack, and I had nothing to do. I was just roaming the streets of San Diego and exploring, and I came across a Best Buy. And I walked in, and I went up to the display with the Nintendo Switches and the Pokemon games, and all I could think of was how depressed I was that I don't get that life. I've been robbed of a chance at having a life like that, where I can just play video games and do what I love. I mean, my dad sold all my video games for heroin money when I was 16, and I was dead broke in homeless shelters. The idea of even owning a motherfucking $300 Nintendo Switch was out of the question, and yet here I am now, and that means a lot. And I'd set this goal for myself to get where I'm at now with VR, because it gave me passion to get out of the situation I was in. It gave me passion to get clean. It gave me passion to, actually give a shit and try and think maybe I can do the whole career thing. Maybe I'm not a worthless piece of shit who can't do shit and is just gonna die in the streets one day because I'm just a retarded autist or whatever. No. And basically what I realized, as you guys well know, I'm really good at manifesting things. Really good. I scare myself with how good I am at manifesting shit into my life. But I've set a new dream for myself. First, the dream was I'm gonna get emancipated from my parents. Then it was I'm gonna move to Los Angeles. Then it's I'm gonna hitchhike the country. Then it was, God, I don't even know. I'm gonna do it again. Oh, I remember. Then the dream was I'm gonna become modern day Jesus. With my little empire of vagabonds. Little delusional, right? No, but after that, the dream was I'm gonna do everything I can to get deep into the metaverse. I don't really have anything left, except for my next big goal. Now that I'm 90 days clean, and now that I've done a lot to get where I'm at. And put simply, the dream is that I'm going to learn how to love myself again. I'm gonna learn how to stop hating myself. And I'm gonna learn how to build up all the love in myself again. Also, Fosty's joining. Sorry, I was letting them know. But the new dream is that because the reason I used, and the reason I ran, and the reason I believed all these horrible things about myself, and the reason I got suicidal, and the reason I wanted to hurt myself, and the reason I wanted to do all of these horrible things was because I hate myself. And I could only get clean when that day, November 15th, I was only able to get clean when I was finally able to acknowledge that I'm just a broken child who never grew up properly and is now growing up. So that's my new goal, is to learn how to love myself. And my friends, all of you, are helping me every single day to get to that goal. I swear to God. I remember a few days ago, I was having a really bad day, and I went with Jones and Kryn and Azure, and I joined off of Jones, and I just entered this apartment world, and I just sang. I sang a song by Johnny Cash called The Junkie's Prayer, because I felt like it was the only way to express my pain about drug addiction. Also, hi, Fosty. You can give me a hug if you want. Yeah. No, I'm vlogging right now, but I'm almost done, so don't worry. And even though I felt horrible about myself and I felt like complete dog shit and was having a horrible week, especially after I found out the news about my friend Jones, I remember I sat on the couch in my full body tracking, falling asleep, and I remember thinking, you know, maybe there's something to this whole I'm not a burden, I'm loved and cared about, and I'm capable of it. And what I've realized this whole time is there's a spark. There is a spark in me. It's really small in comparison to the trauma a lot of the time. Most of the time, I'd argue. But the spark is the part of me that doesn't hate me. And that spark, I want to let it grow big until one day I don't hate myself. And I can say I love myself, and I can finally get back to doing what I love, which is helping people. Because let's be real, I did help a lot of people over the years, but I was also a complete mess with borderline narcissistic tendencies, delusions of grandeur, addicted to drugs, and power fantasies of stupid little clout. And I'm not going to shit on myself too much, because then I'll start veering into self-hatred. You see the fucking pattern I'm in, right? But you guys, you can see it right now. I'm shitting on myself too much, and I'm not giving myself enough credit for where I did do really good things. There you go. Self-hatred in action. That's my point, though. So, yeah. Thank you guys for being really awesome. And thank you to everyone for being the reason I'm clean and healthy. I don't look like complete shit. Like when I was couch surfing and starving myself. My skin looks better. And I actually have muscles again. A little bit. I'm starting to work out too. Lots of lifestyle changes. But, I'm ready to keep going beyond day 90 and take it day by day and just learn how to love myself. And
now for 180 days.
You know, Kryn, more like now for never being addicted to drugs again. To say the least.
That too.
But yeah. So group hug, guys. If you want, I guess. I don't know. No. All right.
I can't tell who's who. It's a fur pile.
We got all the homies. Not all the homies. A lot of the homies. So, yeah, I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my night. Now that I'm finally 90 days clean, I'm gonna just like chill the fuck out. Without drugs.
Yes.
To say the
Very
least.
specifically. Very specifically.
So yeah, I will see you guys around.